All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, June 1st. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, we had a lot going on. We do have a day, and like I said, a lot going on. That amounts to a 0.11 unit of profit, which is, all right, at least it's green, right? We definitely deserve a big cha-ching for that. But we had a lot going on, which was entertaining as all hell. Some of the better calls probably, I guess, would be that Robbie Ray start in that Giants and Marlins game. We had 3 different plays in that one. The first 5 under, Robbie Ray over and outs, and then Robbie Ray under in earned runs, all those cashed. But maybe the Yankees-Dodgers over 9.5, that cashed in the second inning. That was pretty good too. But we can't just talk about the good. The worst call of the night, I do declare, would be Philly's first 5 minus the 0.5 in the run line there. They lost 12-1 in the first 5, so we were pretty close. They put up a good fight, but they lost 17-7 total. But you know what? Like I said, there was some good, there was some bad. We still make a little bit of profit, but it was pretty much a moot point there at 0.11 units. You know what is good news, though? The ride of the day. Let's pump in some crowd noise for Dante. He hits his ride of the day with Scooble over 6.5 strikeouts. It took 7 innings, but he got his 7 strikeouts there. The tracker is now updated. That's linked down in the pinned comment. You can see right here, this is Dante's streak, so we'll be following along there. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays until the wheels fall off, until you give us a loser, right? And we track now on the tracker the streak that people go down. So get those hashtag ride of the days in there. We do have some early starts today, so we'll be looking for a play by around like 12 p.m. Eastern time. So Dante, because you hit yesterday, we're riding with you again. If you're seeing this, try to get one of those plays in early. If you don't, we'll have to end up riding with someone else. But yeah, go ahead and get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. And you know what do you say we dive into today's slate? Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking here. We got Texas taking on St. Louis. DeGrom on their mound going up against Fetty. I think my first sort of thought would be first 5 under here, and I do like that as a potential play for a final play for a couple reasons. You have DeGrom, who has been crushing it in the first 5. He's obviously back, and this Texas offense should take care of itself. So you have DeGrom, who quite possibly could mute this St. Louis offense that's decent, right? And then on the other side of things, Fetty may be the pitcher we have to worry about here, but Texas's offense may take care of itself. So I do like the idea of a low-scoring first 5. I'm going to back DeGrom. I'm going to give Fetty a little bit of credit in his pitch mix and his even history against the guys in this roster for a first 5 low scorer here. If I had to pick a side, I still would say Texas. Obviously not at that -180, so maybe in the first 5 run line if you want a little bit better value there. But ultimately, I don't know if anything really comes close to me like in the first 5. I think that has the best chance of being a final play in this one. All right, Atlanta taking on Boston. We have Elder on the mound going up against Garrett Crochet. These two teams are clearly, I would say, evenly matched, right? Atlanta's at home. They actually are a pretty good home team. The Red Sox just 12-18 on the road, so that matters. But game 1, we saw a 5-1 win for the Sox. Game 2, yesterday, we saw Atlanta 5-0 win. I just think the Elder and Crochet separation is vast. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big starting pitching separation. Elder's been pretty good. I think he gets kind of a bad rap, but I think he's been pretty good. But it is Garrett Crochet we're talking about, right? So I do lean towards the Red Sox in this spot. I don't mind the idea of an under, but I do kind of worry that we saw 5 from the Red Sox game 1, 5 from the Braves in game 2. Today we see like a 5 from each team, because both teams do have legit names on this offense that can go out there. I like the fact that Crochet is on the mound, so maybe he kind of keeps this Braves team tame. And then Elder, like I kind of mentioned, he is getting a little bit more flack than I think he deserves. So I still am comfortable with the under, but at the end of the day, if we like the under, that means that Garrett Crochet pitched a pretty good game. So I would just lean Red Sox overall. And you're getting minus 121 over on ProfitX. Really don't mind that spot. So I'm going to go Red Sox and the under in this one. I've thought about digging in for some Braves player props, but really can't get to any that I absolutely love. One that I kind of don't mind the idea of, and now he might be starting to feel himself again, but Trevor Story's under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He does hit the slider well, which is going to be a big pitch from Elder, but the sinker and the fastball, he's been terrible against. So maybe we take a peek at him, but he's the guy that can get hot so quickly, even though he's been like really, really bad lately. It's still kind of tough to take an under on him. All right, we got Baltimore taking on Chicago, the White Sox. This one's kind of, I guess, priced out already at this point, you know what I mean? On the mound, you have Charlie Morton going up against Adrian Hauser. I wouldn't say that either one of these guys I'd feel comfortable laying my head on my pillow knowing that I put my money behind them. Adrian Hauser did have the start recently against the Mets, his old squad. He looked great. 6 innings, 0 earned. His other start this season was pretty damn good as well, right? But this is Charlie Morton we're talking about here, and he's giving you some bullpen innings. Now he's back to a couple starts. Like, it's honestly probably White Sox or nothing for me, but I don't mind the idea of an over. Like, you have a White Sox team here that you could argue has had some decent offensive success in the recent weeks. Now, that's them scoring 2, 3, 4 runs, but that's success compared to what they were doing. And then Baltimore, you could definitely make the case that they've had a little bit more success. So maybe an over, but I kind of like this at like 8 or 8.5. There's 9.5s out there now, so a little worried about that. Adrian Hauser has looked good. Charlie Morton obviously has a great career. Like, if there's any team that Charlie Morton probably pitches well against right now, it's going to be this White Sox team, right? And Adrian Hauser, what if he continues to pitch really well against a squad that, yeah, this Orioles team isn't all that great offensively, so a little dicey. I would say White Sox in the over, but out of all the games we've talked about, so all 3 of them, I really don't think we have a final play in this one. And shout out to the Guppies that are going to be like, then why we talk about it? Why'd you spend time on it? Because we like talking about sports, and that's what we do on the show. Screw me. Sue me. I didn't mean screw me. All right, guys, real quick, before we do move on with the rest of the games here, I want to talk to you about Sleeper. They got a Yoshinobu Yamamoto, nailed the pronunciation, free square over on Sleeper today. You're also going to get your first deposit matched up to $100. These aren't even like the best deals they're offering. These are pretty good deals, but the fact that they're just tossing out promos left and right, giving you extra value on the app is really what I consider the selling point here and the reason you should race and download Sleeper with the link in the description. I'll also put the link down in the pinned comment. You got to get it today because they just have these boosts across all these sports. Free squares left and right. Really good stuff, guys. Obviously, a free square is going to help you out and get you well on your way, as well as the deposit match, getting you a nice little bankroll in there. So go ahead and check out Sleeper. If you like player props, you have a good sense of what players will do well or not so well on a given night, check it out. Perfect place to play to get some additional action. Link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or use code GuyBoston when signing up. Go get this Yamamoto free square. Just boost your payout today. Speaking of payouts, I love how they do it. Each and every play that you throw into your entry, it changes the payout dynamically. They don't follow a fixed payout structure like a lot of other apps out there where 2 for 2 is 3x, 3 for 3 is 5x. No. Each and every play you throw in there, it can boost your entry to a new degree and that type of thing. So go ahead and check it out. Again, that link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. We got Philadelphia taking on Milwaukee. Suarez going up against, I believe we have Jose Quintana on the mound for Milwaukee. I'm not sure if that is confirmed yet, but we'll talk about it like it is. So you do have 2 lefties here on the mound, right, in Quintana and Ranger Suarez. One of these teams hits lefties okay. The other one doesn't. I would say Milwaukee has been trending in the right direction hitting lefties, so I guess that's fair to throw out there. Obviously, Philadelphia just gets embarrassed yesterday. They get pantsed. They lose 17-7, and they also lost game number 1. It was at 6-2. At some point, I do think we see a Philadelphia resurgence here. I don't necessarily put them in the category of getting swept or easily getting swept by this Milwaukee squad. And Ranger Suarez has been nothing short of really good in the last few starts, right? Jose Quintana, has had his ups and downs this year. He looked good in his last start, but obviously when was that? It was like a month ago or something, right? So who knows how he's going to come back and if he's going to be the same he was. It was a shoulder injury. I think that's pretty important to note as a pitcher. I'm not sure if it was his pitching arm, now that I say that out loud, but either way, I'm going to trust Suarez in the Philadelphia offense here in this spot. We look at it from a bullpen perspective. Philadelphia's bullpen's in a decent spot. I wouldn't really say that they're too hindered. I think they pitched like 3 guys yesterday. Milwaukee's bullpen in the same spot. They didn't even pitch any of their like high leverage arms. Obviously, with a 17-7 win, they didn't really need it. So bullpen should be fairly even. I would trust the Philly bullpen just that much more. Not to a crazy amount, but just that much more. I like their offense, and I do think today they have a good starting pitching advantage as well. So, yeah, give me Philadelphia on the money line. Best odds right now. I know it's pretty juiced. Minus 168 is minus 159 you can get right now. That might be a little too much, given the team just is in a little bit of a rut, but that's what I would end up leaning towards. I also don't mind the idea of a Philly team total over. That could be a spot that we kind of consider, just given the fact that, okay, well, we're kind of fading Quintana, and then even that bullpen, like I said, I do think that there are some gaps in this bullpen. So if we can get Philly for a decent, team total over, maybe that's a look. But I have a feeling things are going to get pretty pricey in this game because the world is going to know that Philadelphia is on the verge of getting swept, and they'll probably, nut up or shut up today and at least grind it out. So we'll see if we can get anything down in this one. All right, Toronto taking on the Athletics. We got Gausman on the mound, who is one of those guys that I kind of like blindly ride. Pause. But I do think that he's one of my favorite pitchers in the league, and this is going to be an interesting one because it doesn't really align with what I normally would be saying. I don't mind the idea of an over in this spot. We've already seen a few really high-scoring games between these two ball clubs. Toronto, 12-0, 11-7, and then 8-7 wins so far in this one. Kind of sort of think that Gausman could get hit today. Not to like an extreme amount where it's like, geez, Gausman got rocked, but enough to get the wheels going on an over type of thing in this spot. Now, from a bullpen perspective, the minute Gausman's out, you do have a Toronto bullpen that's kind of one injured or two a little bit depleted, right? Which is good. And then even if Oakland, if the Athletics, they aren't all that taxed and whatnot, it's like this bullpen has definitely lost their wheels, right? I don't think they have some names in the bullpen. I don't think they're that good of a bullpen, or at least we could say confidently they're not playing that well. So I think you're going to have a lot of innings of potential runs scored here in this one, and even throwing it to the pitch mix. The Toronto Blue Jays are now hitting the slider well all of a sudden. That was a pitch that we could fade earlier in the year. They hit the fastball and slider. That's what JP Sears is going to throw. And then Gausman, fastball and splitter. Those are two pitches that this Oakland team can hit. Number 7th in terms of league ranking over the last 30 days and runs above average. The splitter, they're number 1. So I like the over 8 in this spot. Does it concern me that, Gausman can go out there and throw a gem because he's a pitcher that's that good? Sure, but what if the Blue Jays do get to Sears? And then what if this Athletics team can kind of get to a non-100% bullpen of the Blue Jays? So just given the fact that we do have, obviously, Gausman on the mound, I think we're getting a really low number here at 8. I almost want to say we saw a slightly juiced, which almost I thought that had the value, 7.5 earlier, but that thing's gone now. I think it was like -1. If we can get, minus 130 for 7.5, I really don't mind it. I, again, though, worry a little bit that Gausman is above the numbers, if that makes sense. In terms of a side, I almost want to say at the price it's at right now, plus 170, plus 175, Athletics would be what I look at here. Just because I think this is going to be a game in which we have one run. It's like not lopsided like we've kind of seen so far in the series. So keep an eye on the final plays. We could get a little crazy in this one. All right, we got Los Angeles, the Angels, taking on the Guards here in this one. Gavin Williams on the bump for this Guardians team, going up against Josh Kochanowicz. I think this game's going to be a little bit closer than some might think. And I mean, we even saw a fairly close game yesterday, right? This Cleveland offense, now you look at it yesterday, 7-5 win. Okay, you're going to sit there thinking that this was a big outing from them. They really did start to get to the starter, was it Hendricks, late in that one, right? And then they kind of got in the bullpen, but they only had a couple innings there of high-scoring baseball. And to be honest, and it's kind of crazy to say because this Cleveland offense should be good, that was more of an anomaly of what we've seen from them than lately. They haven't been consistent whatsoever. They do have a couple high-scoring games, and say their last 10 games, they have a few of them, right? But this Cleveland offense really just does not seem to be doing anything consistently. So I do think it's going to be closer than we anticipate here For the price tag, I would only say it's Angels for me. I could see this being a 4-4 game, next run wins, right? So I'm going to lean towards the over as well as the Angels. Not exactly a spot in which I'm racing to the counter to put down, but Gavin Williams is very good. I do think that that's a clear-cut starting pitching advantage, but even he has kind of followed what the Guardians have done. He's been pretty inconsistent, so it's tough to really back him at a -170 price tag. All right, Miami taking on San Francisco. We have Hayden Birdsong on the mound for San Fran going up against Ryan Weathers for this Miami squad. I think Ryan Weathers is good. Now, this is a guy that I really didn't like last year in the past, right? But I do think he's good, and I think he comes from the left side, which is very good in this case, due to the fact that this San Fran team really isn't a consistent offense. They don't hit lefties well. They don't hit the fastball well, which is going to make up 50% of Ryan Weathers' pitch mix. Do we really want to trust Miami's offense against Hayden Birdsong, who also is a kid that has a lot of talent? Not so sure. This is one where I'm kind of starting to want to lean towards the first 5 under, but I could see like a 2-2 game, which we kind of sweat out that first 5 under, right? So that is ultimately where I believe I'm going to end up leaning towards the first 5 under, but I'm going to go with the Marlins here on the money line. I think that this could be a fair spot for Ryan Weathers to pitch well, right? And then throw in the fact that, again, it's a lefty. Like, this is not the most optimal pitcher for the Giants to be able to see in general. So kind of like the spot there. We do have a very small sample size of Ryan Weathers against this current roster of the Giants. And when I say that, guys, that is the current players that make up the team, but just 21 plate appearances against, like I said, small sample size, but the numbers are phenomenal. 24% K rate, 0% walk rate, average against of 200, expected batting average against that drops down to 189, a WOBA of 290, an expected WOBA that drops down to 249. So I think it's the Marlins. I would say that that's what we lean towards today. First 5 under also is in play, but I worry that like one of these pitchers doesn't have a good game, and that kind of screws the first 5 under. But I'm thinking about it. We could probably go, Marlins and the first 5 under, maybe both of those being like a quarter unit play. That way we don't have too much on this, because I do like our looks. I just worry about a few different things, so maybe they just don't, qualify as a full unit type of a go, if that makes sense. So yeah, keep an eye on the final plays. There is something we can do in this one, and we definitely judged the game well yesterday. This is by far and away the matchup that we saw the best, but ultimately, we'll see what we end up actually pulling the trigger on. Guys, if you aren't aware, we create our own MLB research dashboard each and every day. It's really, really cool. Has all of the need-to-know data right in one spot. This pulls from a bunch of different websites. You can see that San Fran and Miami game here, but we have each and every game broken out in a visual format, helping you and me do our research in a more optimal and efficient process way, because you know what, when I was starting to do these videos, coming in the morning or at night, being like, all right, we got to find all the data we need to be able to speak with some knowledge in the videos, right? It was really tough going from website to website to website. So what we did is created our own dashboard that either pulls, or I manually update a lot of this too, pulls and gets updated from a bunch of different websites so we can get it more efficiently. It's over on GuyBostonSports.com, which also has all of our final play posts here as well. In the members area, you can click MLB dashboard. Now, I'm not logged in, so it's going to say, hey, membership required, right? When checking out the memberships, they're very, very simple. We have an all sports dashboard member, meaning you get every dashboard that we have. Right now, it's just MLB and NBA. You have the NBA only, and as well as the MLB only. Now, if you are logged in, we'll set this to our logged in access, and then we'll head over to the MLB dashboard. This is what you will see when going to that page. You get this, again, same thing you just saw, each and every game broken out in a visual format. You could download this, you could print it out. Like when I travel on a plane or so, I like to print it out and then be able to kind of scribble on it throughout the flight, just kind of pass the time. We also have a Discord just for the members here. We could talk about the dashboard. Free Discord link down in the description here, but tons of cool stuff. We also have a video kind of explaining what you get within the dashboard as well that kind of helps you out. So yeah, go ahead and consider becoming a Guy Boston member today. That is on the website. The YouTube membership is different. You get members only videos there. You get the dashboard access over on GuyBostonSports.com. GuyBostonSports.com. Check out the member section. All right, Mets taking on Colorado. Mets win 8-2 yesterday. The weather wasn't even all that good. I don't think we have good weather again. I don't think it's as bad as yesterday. Let me confirm that here. Yeah, it's still windy, and it looks like wind blowing to right field, which I would think actually can help in city, right? But overall, I do think that we have some chance of precipitation and whatnot. Weatherman Ev, we'll see, but I think there is a lot of winds going, which I guess we're probably talking about this for nothing because obviously this is a Mets spot. Clay Holmes versus Carson Palmquist. One offense is good. I should just say this. One team's good. One team sucks. Mets at minus 410 is crazy. Even them on the run line's kind of crazy. So this is just a straight, not even going to look into throughout the rest of the day. But I would say, Mets in a parlay builder type piece. Sure, if you can even stomach those odds in a parlay. I don't mind the idea of a Mets team total under, though. If this is going to be really windy, and again, I want to make sure that the wind is blowing kind of more towards the right than it is just out to the right field. There is a deep right field at Citi, but kind of want to just double check on that. But maybe, the Mets like under 5.5 for a team total. Palmquist kind of stinks, but the Mets offense did score a lot yesterday. Maybe they just come back down to earth. I don't know. That's all I got for you guys. All right, Kansas City. We got Chris Bubik going up against Detroit's Keider Montero, and Keider Montero's been good. I've called him in the past Keider Montelno, and meaning like, hell no, I'm not going to take him, but he's been good. Bubik, though, has been like one of the best lefties in the league this season, and there's a lot of them out there. Crochet, Sale, you got a bunch of guys that are filthy. This guy is, 26, 27 years old, and he's dealing. His season stats are very good. His recent stats are even better, but season stats here, 1.4 ERA, 1.01 whip, a FIP of 2.5. Like, this kid's pitching well. He's going to throw a lot of sliders and fastballs. I do think that is going to work against this Detroit team. I think Keider Montero, even though, like I said, he's looked good, I think he's due for a little bit of regression here. He's going up against a Kansas City offense that isn't all that great, but for the price tag in the minus 150s, like I would almost put this at minus 170. So I'll lean Kansas City. This Detroit team, I'm starting to realize, away from home seems a little bit different, I guess. They're a really good offense, so don't get me wrong, like they can score on the road, but I've seen them a little bit more comfortable at home. Now, they are one of the better lefty hitting ball clubs in the league, so if you're looking for a big payday and a big price today, you're getting Detroit at good value. But I think Bubik is like that good that it's like, oh, well, it's not just a lefty, it's Chris Bubik. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Kansas City as well as the under in this spot. But to me, I'm not gonna really argue someone if they like Detroit because again, they are a really good. They're just a good team. They're the better offense in this game, no question. And they hit lefties better. It's like, okay, I get why someone would get there. Do you know what I mean? Player prop wise, I like the idea of Ibanez on the Tigers under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I think the slider could be a game-changing pitch for Bubik today, being able to get him out. The guy sucks against sliders, so that's one look there. And I believe I had one other under on the Javi Baez, minus 145. He's been in a little bit of a rut here. He's going to get fastball and slider and changeup. He doesn't hit the fastball or the changeup well, but he does hit lefties well. He's one of those guys that hits lefties well, so kind of worrisome there, but he has been in a little bit of a slump. And if you look at Baez this season, he's gone like dormant, really good for a few games. Kind of, a few games not so good. Then boom, he skies again. He might be at the beginning of one of those dormant runs. All right, this Houston team is like this close to being on the DNB list. We took them 2 games in a row for their team total over 3.5. Neither one came through. Then we took them yesterday on the money line. And what happened? They end up losing that one. Was it 6? Football scored to a field goal. Like, it was pretty bad. So that was also one of the worst ones. I know I ragged on myself for the Phillies pick. We did the recap. This was arguably just as bad, right? Littell went out there and absolutely dealt, which I definitely didn't see coming. He allowed like 10 hits too, but 3 earned runs. He pitched like 8 or 9. I think it was 9 innings now that I even say it, right? So yeah, I didn't see that coming. This Detroit team deserves a big old womp womp. For the reason that they've now just burned us 3 games in a row. I do think that they're due to win. They have Hunter Brown going up against Taj Bradley. So obviously I would say that the Astros have the advantage and all that, but I really can't get behind them here. So I think that, yeah, that's probably the play at minus 205. No, but maybe first 5 run line, but you're not going to catch me betting on Houston. Total-wise, at 7.5, I do think I could trust both of these pitchers. Houston's offense is not exactly all that great right now, so Taj Bradley may be able to pitch well, right? And didn't we just see Taj Bradley, I think it was, 10 days ago, look okay against this squad? And then Hunter Brown on the other side of things, like, yeah, he probably should be able to pitch well against Tampa Bay. Didn't last time you saw them, but it's Hunter Brown. I think he will. So I'll lean under, and I guess Houston, but probably not touching it. I have not read Houston well, and I thought they were a really good home team. They have definitely proved me wrong. All right, Cubs taking on Cincinnati. What a weird series so far. Cincinnati wins 6-2 game 1, and then they hold the Cubs to 2 runs in game number 2 there, and you'd think, okay, well, that means that, they probably won. Cincinnati scored 0. And I don't know where we're at with this Cubs team. Like, if you look at their last 5 games, 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, in terms of runs scored, that is not the Cubs team we know. Now, they have been at home for those games, and I believe it's been really, really windy in Chicago, right? Which I love the comments we get because obviously Wrigley is like the wind just matters so much there. So guys, if you're from Chicago and you have some real boots on the ground information on the weather, keep it coming, guys. I love that because even yesterday I was like, it looks like we could have some really bad wind and all that. And I think by the time the game started, there was, but we got a bunch of comments saying like, no, weather's beautiful and that type of thing. I think ultimately by the time we saw them play, it did get really windy, but love seeing that. But anyways, the reason I bring up the weather is because I'm not sure if this Cubs team is not batting because they're facing this crazy amount of wind, or if this team is just kind of in an offensive rut right now. So that's enough of a question mark for me to be like, all right, yeah, I probably like the Cubs today at the price tag. I think they are the better team, the better offense. Tyon versus Martinez, toss up, but either way, I do think the Cubs are better, and they're at home. But I'm worried about their offense, and I kind of want to keep sussing this out and trying to figure out if it's them or if it's the weather in a sense. So give me the Cubs. I'll also lean under because we haven't seen anything that would make us like an over from them. So yeah, it's what it is. But again, big question mark in terms of what's causing this offensive drought. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden they're back home for a homestand here, a couple series in a row, and the offense is toast. It's like they've had wind blowing in at them. I don't know how much. I can only use the numbers, and it's like, double-digit miles per hour, but I'm not actually there watching it, So enough of a question mark there. Ultimately, still Cubs in the under, though. All right, Arizona taking on Washington. Isn't it funny how this one played out? So I didn't want to do Arizona money line yesterday, right? I said, screw it. We don't have to worry about the pitching. Let's just go out there and have them score runs. And the good thing is, even if we do have a tough time throughout the beginning of the game, once we get to the bullpen, we'll be good to go. And they scored 5 runs in the we had the full over 4.5. They scored 5 runs in the 6th or 7th inning. So love to see that. I think I do look at them for a team total over again today. I think I'm a little concerned with the fact that it is a pretty damn big price tag. Minus 150 for 4.5. That's a lot, especially if they don't get all of their at-bats because they are the home team. They might only get 8 innings of run, meaning they need to score 5 runs through 8 innings. I don't know, little bit less tempting than it was yesterday, right? We do have Corbin Burnes on the mound going up against Mitchell Parker, so that should probably be a massive lean towards that pitching on the side of Arizona. But what I will say is he throws a lot of cutters. That's his number one pitch, right? Washington, kind of sneaky out of all the, and look at using the dashboard that we already promoted, right? Washington, the number one team against the cutter in the entire league last 30 days. So I sit there and I'm like, interesting. Is it worth a flyer of a plus 220 look at Washington? Probably not. Not after they beat Arizona yesterday. Actually, they beat them in the first game, too, of the series, right? So Arizona with Burnes on the mound probably ends up coming out here and winning. But I'll tell you what, this is a go spot in Arizona, I think, if Corbin Burnes gets hit up today. And then we have Zach Gallen pitching against Atlanta. Is it tomorrow or the next day? I think they might have a day off. But that team is going to be, coming off of 5 straight losses if they lose today with one of my favorite pitchers on the mound. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm going to lean Arizona if you can get them some way, shape, or form, whether it's first 5 run line, team total, that type of a thing. I think they can get to Parker, the lefty, today. Total at 9, I would just say team total over for the Diamondbacks. I don't know if we're going to keep getting this offense out of the Nationals. Like, what they've done has been kind of crazy. Like, they went 0-3-2-1 in terms of runs scored, and then all of a sudden 9-9-9-11. What? Like, which is the real Nationals team? Because we've seen some good Nationals offense this year, but then we've also seen some bad Nationals offense. And they're going up against Corbin Burnes, who is obviously a very, very good pitcher. So it should make us think twice about it, I would say. All right, Seattle taking on Minnesota. This was one that just didn't end up going in our direction yesterday, right? We had Minnesota on the money line, and it would have been a nice cash. I think we got them at, minus 106, something like that. So that would have been pretty damn nice. But they end up losing that one 5-4 in extras. They let up 2 runs in the 7th, and it was like, oh, crap. But then they did score in the 9th to push it to extras. Ultimately, Seattle then scores in the bottom of the 10th. Today we have Luis Castillo on the mound going up against Chris Paddock. Normally, I would say this is an absolute, spot for the Mariners and all that, but I do still think these teams are very, very similar in terms of what we're seeing pitching, bullpen, and offensively. I would obviously, numbers-wise, it's definitely a better Twins bullpen, but this Seattle team, regardless of that, is super taxing the bullpen. So is Minnesota, but I still think Minnesota may be able to throw Jackson, Varland, and some of their main guys. The Seattle bullpen, though, even if they're not as taxed, they are very taxed, but not as taxed. They're just not. I would say they're maybe if this is a 1A bullpen in the Twins, Seattle's like 1B or C. It's not like this massive range of like margin of them being worse, but I do still think there's a bullpen advantage. So that's probably confusing. I think Minnesota has the bullpen advantage. I think that they have the offensive advantage today as well. They're going to see a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders, and sinkers from Castillo. That's what he throws. They're top 10 in all of those pitches in terms of runs above average. I do have a little bit of concern that Castillo has been really good against this Twins roster, so the guys on the roster, that's a little bit of concern, but I'm looking at a low-scoring Twins win today, and you're getting +1, I want to say it was +130 last time. Yeah, +120 right now. Yeah, +127 you can get. So I do think that that's probably the spot. Is Castillo probably in a decent spot? Yes. Is this Mariners offense comparable? Yes. Is the bullpen tax on Minnesota side of things? Yes, but so is the Mariners. So yeah, you can make an argument for Seattle, but all of that kind of being at the same level as one another tells me that the -140 wouldn't be worth it. So hopefully that makes sense. I think this is closer to 50-50. One side you're getting +127, one side you're paying -140. Easy math in my opinion. So give me the under as well as the Twins. San Diego taking on Pittsburgh. We tried to back Dylan Cease yesterday, and it didn't ultimately work. Now, we did kind of go with an aggressive line, right, of the 1.5 in the first 5 under. He ended up letting up 3, I believe, through the first 5. So, yeah, I mean, Dylan Cease didn't look all that special. He didn't even make it out of the 5th inning. 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, though. Today, I could see this going a little bit differently. We have Andrew Heaney up against Randy Vasquez. I do think this is telling because I don't think Vasquez has been all that great, even though a lot of people would back him and do like him. He's been fairly consistent, but he's going to give you, 5 innings, I'd say, allow 2 or 3 earned runs. But he is going up against an offense that he should pitch pretty well against, and we already saw him pitch well against his team so far this year. Andrew Heaney, though, has been pitching really well. Now, he had a bad outing, 5 innings, 5 earned runs against Arizona. I think this price is telling us a lot. Why is Andrew Heaney, who's been pitching really well this year, priced at +130 against Randy Vasquez, who really hasn't been looking all that great? I think this is a spot in which San Diego gets to him today. They get to the bullpen today. I think this is San Diego all the way around. I don't mind their team total over. What was that? What are the odds on that updated right now? Because if you don't want to trust Randy Vasquez, I was going to say, Randy Vasquez, then yeah, I'm not trying to say, hey, trust him. But right now, oh man, it's moved. It moved about 15 cents the last time we looked. I was going to say team total over 3.5 for San Diego. If you want to go 4.5 for plus money, sure, I guess I could see it. But to me, this is more so a play on the line with the fact that we have Andrew Heaney, who's been pitching well, and all of a sudden it's like San Diego -140. So maybe San Diego on the money line, but you know what? They are on the DMB graveyard, so I don't really want to be touching them right now, ultimately. So maybe we just look at an over in this one, because what is Randy Vasquez? What if he just goes out there and stinks too, and the Pirates somehow score a bunch of runs? San Diego in the over, that's all I'd look at, but I'm really scarred by the San Diego team and probably not touching them for like another week or so because they're on the graveyard, and those stones are pretty damn heavy to remove. All right, Dodgers taking on the Yanks. We have Yoshinobu Yamamoto going up against Ryan Yarbrough. This is probably a spot for the Dodgers, I would say. I mean, yesterday, look at that offense, and that was against a pitcher that is better than what I would say Ryan Yarbrough is, right? That was Will Warren. 18-2 was that final score. I liked the Yankees in that one. I obviously liked the over more, and glad we rolled with the over for a full unit because that one came through. Yarbrough's been pitching really well. I don't want to really rag on him. I feel like he has been looking good, but it's Yamamoto. Even though his numbers may have been a little dicey lately, he's the better pitcher. I do think that this Dodgers team and the Yankees team offense is still better than any pitcher in the league, so I'm going to lean over. But I kind of want to just say, okay, well, why don't we just get a Dodgers team total over? That way we can say, okay, well, yeah, Yamamoto can go out there and do his thing because he is that good, right? But we just need the Dodgers to go out there and give us, 5 runs, which seems like it should be something they can do fairly easily. They've done it in 55% of the games this year, in 66% of home games, and against left-handed pitchers and at home, they've done it in 2 of their last 3, scoring 9 and 8 runs in those 2. So, and one of those was against the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was 2 days ago, so that would have been, Max Fried, right? So they already did that this series against the Yankees, faced a lefty at home, and boom. So yeah, I could see Dodgers team total over ultimately. They'd have to get to 5, but that way we don't necessarily have to worry about backing Yamamoto, not backing Yamamoto in a sense, I guess. But Yarbrough, like I said, has been pitching pretty well, and in terms of pitch mix, what we'll get from him is the slider, the sinker, the cutter. really, if you don't throw the splitter or the fastball, this is not like a Dodgers team that's tattooing anything else. So sure, Yarbrough might be able to keep him down, but what if you get to this Yankees bullpen that definitely is a little bit volatile? What if the Dodgers just keep doing what they've been doing? You know what I mean? So at some point, I do think that we see them kind of just score only 5 runs through 9 innings. I could see it happening. Hopefully the Yankees keep it close enough that we do have that 9th inning ultimately, because that would be pretty massive if we do not. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. And like I said, the over and the Dodgers probably what we'll be looking at here. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, you know exactly what to do. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. We're at like the 33-minute mark, I think. So comment 33 if you made it all the way to the end. Really do appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.